How's it going, guys? Necromancer Noob with another video today. Today is going to be more of like a discussion topic video, and I want to play a little game with you guys, right? So I'm going to list off a few games, and then I'm going to list off another set of games, and we're going to see what they got in common, what we got different, and where I'm going with all of this, right? So without further ado, let's get right to it. So the first games I'm going to list off: Diablo 4, Mortal Kombat 1, or heck, let's just throw in all the Modern Warfares together. Let's even go back to some older games, right? Like the most recent Halo that came out, Justice League's Kill the Suicide Squad, and to top it off, let's say Skull and Bones. Right, so that's the first list of games. Now, think about them, right? We're going to talk about the second list of games: Helldivers 2, Remnant 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Lethal Company. And let's even throw Power Worlds into the mix. And that finished up the second list, right? So I'm going to say right off the bat, first list of games are all AAA titles, right? Or in Skull and Bones case, you're a quadruple A game. What a joke. But arguably, for all of these games being AAA developers with a lot of money being invested into them, they have kind of fell off. Fan base has a lot of critiques about them. A lot of people just didn't enjoy them. So we're going to talk about the second list of games. And that is, all the other games were not AAA games, right? They're not very high-end publishers with millions of dollars to go into a single game. These are smaller companies with smaller groups of teams working on these games, but arguably have done so much better than these AAA titles. And we're just going to talk about why. Like, what is the reason that these games are doing so much better? Now, right off the bat, talking about Diablo, Mortal Kombat, Modern Warfare. If you're owned by Activision, Warner Bros., or any of those, your game is probably going to flop because you're going to have so many microtransactions. The higher-ups don't talk to us, right? That's another thing I'm going to bring about with the smaller games like Remnant 2 and Helldivers 2. The developers, you can basically have full-on conversations with them. We can figure out what's going on in the future. We can talk to them about what we don't like about the game, and they can contact us and tell us, hey, we appreciate your thoughts and concerns. Here's what we think. Here are some changes we're going to implement because we heard you guys. And I think that is one of the best selling factors, in my opinion, is that the developers just care more. Opposed to these higher ups, like, let's see, Diablo 4, they want to really ask people if they're willing to pay $100 for an expansion, which is more than the base game, which is just shameless because, I mean, the player base fell off dramatically over a few months. And bringing it back to the first thing, when it comes to like Diablo or Mortal Kombat, I feel like I am ripping out of my nails and I'm like interrogating these developers just to hear what they have planned in store for us. And they can rarely ever tell us what we're expecting, right? I mean, it'll take forever just for them to say, okay, yeah, we're working on that. We'll give you a date on that. And it's like 2 years from now. Like, no one is going to wait for that. We need content now. We want substance to our games. We want just goodies that come along with it, right? And the other part is we don't want to pay all the extra money that these dudes are asking for it. So let's go over it. Lack of content, lack of communication, greed, and another pointer I'm going to talk about. I think these higher devs and publishers have a blueprint, right, that did really well years ago, and they just think they can follow that same blueprint, and it doesn't work out. Like, they need to be more innovative. They need to care about their games more. They need to try to think outside of the box more. I mean, look at Call of Duties. It's the same thing, different skins, slightly better textures sometimes it looks worse. It's just a mess half the time. Comes to Diablo, they had such a good start off their initial release and so much press, like they had so much advertisement going towards it, and a few months later, they add terrible nerfs that no one asked for, terrible balances that didn't balance anything. It just sucked the fun out of the game, making dungeons harder to grind, there's so much going wrong with that game. And you can tell because player base dropped significantly. People are jumping on to other games that are similar that just do it better. Which really sucks sometimes because when you look at Diablo 4, it's not a bad game. Like, it's not the worst thing ever. It has its flaws, and it has a lot of flaws, and clearly developers just didn't listen to the community when they asked for things and wanted things. Goes along with Mortal Kombat as well. Like, Mortal Kombat's just a drought, bro. Like, the roster, probably arguably one of the best rosters in the Mortal Kombat series. Like, I love all the characters, but it's just, there's just nothing to it. There's no substance to the game. We're waiting months for just one single character to come out along with a cameo appearance. Like, we just need more stuff with it. Which I talked about Diablo and Mortal Kombat, a little bit of Call of Duty. I'm not even going to talk about Skull and Bones. Like, how far up your ass you need to be to consider this game a quadruple A game is just so arrogant, and that just shows how out of the loop they are, which is just ridiculous. Which is going to bring me into the other games I want to talk about, which are the good games. Helldivers 2, me and my friends have been looking for a co-op game that we can all get together and play, because a lot of these games recently are 3-player. We're missing out on a 4th. We can't all play together. And Helldivers just popped up on the map randomly and has taken the world by storm, to say the least. And the other game I really want to talk about is Remnant 2. That game is a cult classic sequel to the first one. I feel like not nearly enough people played the first one. I feel like not nearly enough people have played the second one, but it has gotten a lot more popular opposed to the first one that came out. They fixed a lot of the things that the first one did, and it's just a blast. I've had a few hundred hours soaked into Remnant 2, and the attention to detail, the fact that I can be on a Discord or Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and talk to these developers and really have conversations about them, about what they think is right, what they think needs to be changed. We can talk to them about what we think needs to be changed. And a lot of times they really take what we put into consideration and apply it into a future patch and stuff like that. Not to mention, there is like no greed whatsoever when it comes to Remnant or Helldivers 2. Remnant 2, no battle pass, none of that BS. They got DLC that's $10 each, right? We got first one out already. We're going to have 2 more coming out eventually. And not to mention, the game was already only $40. Let's look at Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 was $40 as well. It has 2 battle passes. If you want to get the premium buck, it's like $10. But they don't expire, so we don't have to like rush and try to work our way towards these battle passes that are going to expire within a month. We don't have enough time to play it and get everything we want. Helldivers 2, they, took some good notes from like Dead by Daylight, or, arguably the newer Halo did do that as well, where you can go back to these old battle passes and work your way towards what you want. So I do appreciate that a ton. Same with Power World and Lethal Company. I mean, these games don't look good whatsoever. They arguably could be, a lot of people would say they look terrible, which in some cases, they kind of do. But that's aside the point. That they have like a charm to them, and they're very fun if that's the games you want to get into. There is a lot that they offer, and it's just fun. Not to mention just like the nice attention, the detail that you can get when playing like Remnant or Helldivers. I mean, Helldivers, you're on your ship, you look outside your ship, and you see everyone else's ships. Everyone else is doing something. You see orbital lasers coming down, you see SOSs, you see artillery coming down, and that's all from players playing the game as we speak and as we're looking at ourselves. I mean, Remnant 2, you look at build videos, you look at all these different unique things that people are coming up with, and it's just so fun to see. Another thing to mention too is the community. Like, there are some bad apples in there, I'm not gonna lie, some like purists, but that aside from the point, there's bad apples in every game and every community. But Helldivers 2, I mean, this almost killed the console wars. Like, you got PlayStation and PC begging and asking the developers to bring Xbox players into it. Like, what other game has that happened where there is such an uproar for another system or console to get in on the fun? In short, AAA games are in shambles right now. They are struggling, and I hope they realize that a few years from now, I mean, hell, even just right now, these AA games, whatever you want to call them, the smaller developers are just putting in work. They are doing so much good. They're doing good to the community, doing good to their games. You can see the attention that they're really putting into these games, and it shows. It shows how much they care for these games. That being said, it's not like every AAA game sucks. I mean, FromSoft are my boys. Every game they make is a banger, and I can't wait for the DLC to come out. But that's aside the point. And, you know, even bringing it back to the smaller developers and games, not like every game that they are making are bangers and every game is a must play, but I'm just saying, I'm seeing a more common occurrence of these AAA games not doing so well, and these smaller games that no one's ever heard of before, and these developers that are really just putting in the work, and you can see it, and it shows the appreciation that they got for their own games and everything along those lines. It just shows, and you can tell. But anyways, I don't know. That's my rant, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I mean, there's a whole other list of games I could have mentioned and talked about. I could make a deeper dive into this. I can talk about this for hours. But without further ado, I hope you guys like this video. Leave a like. Consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit 700 or more. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Let me know in the comments what you guys are playing right now, what you guys enjoy. Why do you think these AAA games aren't doing so well? And why do you think these smaller games are just uprising and are just the next best thing? But anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out this video. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.